this one real expensive? It was actually. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm ready.
We are live.
Oh, hi, Ida. How you doing?
Just fine. I've got my coffee. You've got yours, I see.
Yeah, so this is like, I like these cups. I've had them for a while, but they're like these Hawaiian cups that my dad found, I think, at the Goodwill, but they're from Hawaii, from a shop called Hello Hattie. I just think they're cool. I just really like these cups.
They're very nice.
Yeah, so what's going on today? I know there's been a lot of developments with like Bo and things going on with Bo that we were going to talk about, or are we going to talk more about that show?
Well, I thought we'd start with the show and then we can talk about whatever we feel like talking about, you know. So I wrote down that show and random things, but that can include Bo, of course.
Okay, definitely. So I haven't seen as much of the show as you. I have started watching it. I saw the first episode. I really like it. I like that it shows like, well, you know what I thought was really cool was that it shows this thing that goes on, just a small detail, but you know how in like in Japan or China and other countries, like kids actually help clean the campus.
Yeah.
Like, I really liked how at the beginning they were raking up leaves, because here in America, like when I was a kid, that was like considered a punishment. Like if you were a really bad kid and you threw a ketchup packet, you had to pick up trash, and parents like would freak out. Like, in fact, there was this one boy, he was always doing really bad things on the bus, like littering, like graffiti, and he begged the bus driver, like, could you just help me clean the bus? I don't want my parents to know. I'm going to get in trouble. She goes, no, because we got sued before. Like, school districts here are just so weird about it. So I thought it was nice to see that the students were helping to clean the campus. Like, I kind of like that. I know that's just a random detail, but I kind of thought that was nice to see.
They do that every semester or every time before school starts. I saw that in Taiwan. You know, I remember I lived in an apartment that was overlooking an elementary school, and at the beginning of the year, all the kids were out there cleaning the campus.
See, I think that's really nice. I really wish. I don't understand why we like are so weird about doing that here, you know? Like, I feel like maybe kids would take more ownership in the campus, because one thing I've noticed is kids do litter or they throw trash, and maybe if they all had to kind of share in cleaning it, that would like make them not want to do that because they feel some ownership of it. Just my opinion, you know?
Yeah, that could be. But also we have janitors, and maybe the janitor would feel that they don't have a job very much. If the kids actually did do all the cleanup work, then what would the janitor would do? So I
guess, yeah, that's true. We wouldn't have a need for janitors. Whereas in Taiwan, did they have a janitor like on the campus?
I felt that they didn't. I don't know the truth because I didn't work in a high school or elementary school. I worked at university, and at the university they had people whose job was to make sure all the vegetation was pretty and everything, and they also fed the dogs. There were stray dogs on campus, and they always took food from the cafeteria and they fed all those stray dogs. So I thought that was nice.
Yeah, that's really nice. Like, whereas here, like, okay, I know I'm just kind of going off on a tangent. We'll get back to the show. Like, if a kid's but go ahead, get back to the show.
No. Go ahead and share this. And if you could share it in Twitter and tag me, then maybe my mother could watch. Because
yeah, that's what I was trying to do right now. Like, I'm trying to get it.
Yeah, but so as I said, I don't know if there are custodians or janitors in the elementary and high schools in Taiwan, but I do know that there was a staff in charge of keeping the university campus looking beautiful. And one of their jobs, I think, was take care of the stray dogs, but they weren't mean to the stray dogs. They were kind to them.
Oh, I like that. Like, it seems like it's a good way to deal with, like, well, people, they kind of hate on stray pets or any kind of wild pet, and rather than just hate on them, like, they aren't really hurting anybody. So you fed them, you know, what's wrong with that?
Right. And the thing is, the dogs also behaved well. You know, sometimes you would be afraid to come across a dog who hasn't been vaccinated, and you might be afraid that they might bite you or whatever. None of those dogs were like that. And in fact, they would not take food from just anybody passing by. So somebody must have tried to poison them at some time, and they just knew not to take food from just anybody.
They were kind of smart.
Yeah.
Well, so anyway, that was just one thing I just thought was kind of nice about the story, like just how they're kind of bumping into each other. And I thought it was really sweet how, okay, I've only watched one episode, so I know all the characters have names, but I didn't really, like, I was kind of just watching it the first time. Usually I read a little bit about a show to know all the characters' names, but I'm just kind of, like, give my impression of the first episode. I liked how the female character, she just really liked the boy, and it was innocent, and it didn't have to be like lewd, and she could express her admiration for him in just kind of a cute adolescent way, which we don't really see in a lot of American programs anymore. Like, there used to be shows like that, but now it just seems like everything has to be really, and I'm not trying to put people down, but it's just too adult. Like, I felt like this was more like an adolescent romance, and it was sweet, and I like that.
Yeah, and let me see if I can try to say the names. The reason it's hard is because, of course, they're Chinese names. So the girl's name is Chen Xiaoxi, and the boy's name is Zhang Chen. But of course, I'm not pronouncing it really correctly, but that's as close as we can get. What's interesting is, like, his first name, which is, you know, you go last name first in Chinese. So his family name is Jiang, but his first name is Chen. But her family name is Chen. And then her name is Xiaoxi. So there was this one episode where she wanted to write a Christmas card to him. But then her parents found out that she had a Christmas card, and they were concerned that she might be involved with a boy. So she ended up writing it to Lao Chen, which is old Chen, which is how she called her father, you know, old Mr. Chen. So she wrote that to her father instead of sending him the card.
Aw, that's very, very sweet. And then I just wanted to let you know I did share this on Twitter, so everybody should be able to watch on Twitter. And I also shared it on Facebook, so everybody should be able to tune in right now if they're on either platform.
Okay, good. Yeah. I like the innocence, too, and the fact that she could admire him, you know, and that was what it was based on. So, yeah, there's just something very refreshing about that show.
I think it's actually good, and it kind of reminds us of something like, and I was thinking, too, this doesn't even have to apply to, like, young people, really. It can apply to people of all ages. Like, I don't know, recently, like, I just had this experience with this person. He didn't like me, but I guess what he did say was he likes to be friends with people first, and the person he did like, I guess they were, like, really good friends. So, like, I think it doesn't matter what age you are. Maybe that's a really good way to just get to know someone, is to be friends with them first. Like, it seems like they're able to be friends, and it's just, like, getting to know each other in a real kind of way, as opposed to, like, I don't know, like, these American shows, I feel like there's just so much pressure. Like, they'll have these girls, they're dressing, like, I'm not telling people how they have to dress, but just in a certain kind of extreme way to get guys' attention, and she's just being herself and happy-go-lucky, and he might not like her at first, but as they get to know each other, it's like there isn't this pressure. It's not like about dating. It's just about young people either wanting to study, not wanting to study, one being kind of a jock, one being academically motivated. I like that it's more focused on adolescent issues as opposed to, like, these, I don't know, just it seems like in a lot of the American shows, they want the kids to be like mini adults already and have adult issues, but not really be young, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I mean, as you said, it could be for all ages. And the thing is, the American show, usually nobody's that interested in academics, right? I mean, if it is a show about adolescence.
Yeah, they don't show much of it, and that was actually always kind of my complaint. Like, okay, even like back in the 80s, like when you would have like a little bit more, like maybe they'd be focused a little bit more on the academics. Like here's one movie, Pretty in Pink. I thought it was kind of disappointing how the one character, she was really intelligent, but most of the movie was just about, oh, she likes this boy and blah, 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 and everything about her interactions with the boy and the romantic side, but not really much about the school. But here we actually see them like they're in class and like it's really focused on the academic side. Like it seems like there's a lot of emphasis on wanting to do well, which I kind of like, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, it's realistic because everybody knows what everybody's grades are. So you can't lie about how you're doing academically. And, but at the same time, they're respectful of the other abilities that people have that are not academic, such as Chen Xiaoxi is an artist. She draws. And the other boy is a swimmer. And he's never going to college, but it's okay because he's excelling in that area.
Yeah, and I like that. And honestly, like one of the impressions I got just from the beginning of the show, like, okay, I'm not into, everybody's saying you need to do meditation, you need to do this, but I kind of like felt calm and relaxed just watching the show, like when they were showing the art. And I kind of like that, like something about the Asian like influence art and just the music. And just like this kind of show, it feels kind of relaxing.
Yeah, I watch, they give you the option to skip the intro or not. And I like that song at the beginning, even though it's very simple. You know, there's a song that leads into the show. And even that is so relaxing.
It really is. And like I was saying, like, I don't know, I don't do meditation, but like for me, this kind of just felt meditative. Like for some reason I'm like, oh, this is like really relaxing. Like I wanted, and I actually did watch the song like 3 times because I wanted to see what they were doing and I wanted to see the art because I really liked the art. Like it was just simple but very sweet and I don't know, charming. Like I don't know, there's a lot of things about the show that I just like. Actually, I like that they ride bikes.
Yes,
I thought that was kind of, because I know like American kids will think about it like in America, like, can you imagine, like, if they told the kids, oh, ride bicycles, somebody would be like, oh my gosh, no, like, you're gonna be killed. Like, there are parents, they will, even when it's a high school student, like, they will drop them off at the school. They wouldn't just, like, I don't know, like, if this happens as much anymore. Maybe some high school kids, but it seems like now, like, there's actually high school kids where they don't get to have, like, that adolescent experience, like, going to school with their classmates as much. Like maybe sometimes yes, but it seems like some of the kids, like their parents are literally like taking them to the school and picking them up from the school, and it just like they have a chance to just be young and do things with each other.
Right. Of course, at a certain age here in the United States, they start driving to school. So my daughter used to ride the bus to school, and actually she had to ride 2 buses because the elementary school is in our town. But the high school, you had to get on a different bus from the elementary school to get all the way to the high school, which is in the county seat. So she did all that, and she was happy to do it at first, and then she got tired of doing it. And then as soon as she got her driver's license, she was driving to school.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of the kids do drive now. I think, well, when I was younger, they all drove too. But just one thing I've been seeing that's a little bit different, like even now, like in the high school, like when I used to sub, you would still see kids walking to school. You would still see some driving to school. But even at the high school, like I saw kids being dropped off at the high school, which just kind of surprised me because when I was in high school, that didn't really happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think I dropped my daughter off like once or twice in her entire high school career, but that was because something happened to the bus, or, when the elementary school had a day off and the high school did not have a day off, there was no way for her to get to the bus, so, but that was a very rare occurrence,
Yeah, for sure. So what else was it about the show that you think is kind of interesting and intriguing?
Well, I'm intrigued by the class leader. Her name is Li Wei. I don't know if you noticed her yet.
And she has like the ponytail, right? Is she the girl that wears her hair in the ponytail? And she seems to be kind of, by the second episode, becoming more of a friend with
that there's a friend who wants to be an astronomer, and she has a ponytail, and she's very pretty and kind of tall. I mean, a lot taller than Chen Xiaoxi. But there's a class.
Is she the one that's talking about the moderator?
Yeah. She's the one who hands out all the papers because that's her job, because she's like the class leader, and she sits at the front, and there's another girl who's her friend. And this other girl is always bullying anyone who says anything that she thinks detracts from the class leader's standing. You may not.
I've seen a little bit of it, but like I watched the first episode, but I feel like because it's the subtitles, you really have to read it. And I kind of like sometimes like to watch something a second time so I really understand what's going on. And I got interrupted a few times, and then I started watching the second episode. So I just felt like I was missing a few things. I don't know, because I felt like if I could have just sat down and. So maybe I did kind of see them, but I feel like I might have missed that a little bit.
Yeah, well, it kind of develops. So Li Wei is interested in the same guy, because he's tall and handsome and also a very good student. And so I thought the interactions were interesting.
Yeah, I thought so too. Like, and I haven't watched a lot of the show yet, but honestly, like, I don't know. Just going off like who I found the most charismatic and interesting. I kind of like the sports guy. Like, I don't know. I kind of like his personality in the first couple episodes. Like, I know everybody's more for the academic, but he's kind of aloof. And I understand being aloof, but I kind of like the other guy a little bit more. I don't know. Like, just my first impression.
I feel bad for the other guy because he has no chance, but he's really nice and a very good sport and a very good person.
Yeah, but I don't know. I kind of like his character. Like, but this is just my opinion.
He's always smiling. I don't know if you noticed that. The other guy never smiles, and this guy is always smiling. And did you see that he had a T-shirt that said balance on it?
Yeah, I saw that, and they were writing balance on the board. That was funny.
Yeah, that's because she thought he was probably very good at English because he knew how to spell that word, but actually that was the only word he knew how to spell.
His only word, yeah, because he was kind of struggling. And I liked how he called her Big Boss. I thought that was kind of cute. Like, there's a little bit of chemistry that they had.
Yeah, well, he took it upon himself to help her with everything. He's like her guardian angel.
And I kind of like that. And I understand, like, the aloof thing. That's why I just feel like, after I saw him, I'm kind of like, I get it. She likes the academic guy, but I'm just like, when you think about it, like, wouldn't you kind of like this other guy who kind of gives you a little bit more attention? But then it's human nature. You're gonna like the person who's more aloof, I guess, more disinterested. Yeah.
That's right. That's what happens, and I don't know whether that's a good thing or not, but it's obviously it's international. That happens here, and it happens there too.
Yeah, it is. But I do really like how the one controversy is, they're writing love letters, like, and they were just so horrified by this, whereas here in America, that's kind of just like a standard thing. And you'd be happy if the kids just did that in the classroom. Like, if that was the height of disobedience in an American classroom, I think a teacher would just be very happy in general.
And you notice how the students have solidarity with each other. So when they're about to get in trouble, the ones who were not involved try to help too.
Yeah, I noticed that. And they all stick up for each other, which I have never seen that happen in an American classroom, like, ever. Like, maybe, but have you?
No, I haven't. And I think that's part of what they instill in the students that there's this kind of a spirit of we're all in this together. So whenever a student does really well, everybody's happy for that student. And whenever someone is in trouble, they try to help each other.
Yeah, I kind of like that. And it may not work in America, but I like how it works in China or maybe in other countries where, I mean, I just don't ever foresee like American students becoming that way because everybody just seems very self-invested, like from a young age, because that's just the American. Like, I don't know, in Israel, was it like this though, Aya? Like, I don't know. Like,
I didn't get to go to high school anywhere, not in the U.S. and not in Israel. I was homeschooled in the United States after junior high.
Yeah.
It was a little bit more like that when I was in Israel in 3rd and 4th grade. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that I do have some nostalgia. And I wonder if I had stayed in Israel and gone to high school, would that have been better for me socially?
It might, like, but even here in America, like, I don't know, like, I don't think, like, looking back, I wouldn't say my high school experience was, like, horrible, but everybody was just very into their own cliques, the groups, and it's a weird age to begin with, and I just never, like, I didn't want to, like, I honestly, if I had an option, I wanted to do the homeschool thing. But the only reason I couldn't do it was because my parents worked. And they made you, like, basically they told you, oh, well, I found out later, of course you could, but they told you at the time you really couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, unless you had somebody that would take you once a week to the school to meet with a teacher, and they just made it very complicated, or so you thought, unless like you knew. Some people did it anyway, but we weren't in the know about it at the time is all, you know.
Yeah, no, we didn't do it legally, we just did it. And actually my father was the teacher, my mother was not a teacher, and so my father obviously did work, he supported the family. So the idea that you have to have the parents right there with the child in order to homeschool is conflating the idea that you need a babysitter with the idea that you need a teacher. Your babysitter is not your teacher. Mm-hmm. Your teacher is not necessarily your babysitter.
No, definitely not. But I see, I didn't know these things at the time. I'm just like sharing what we were told back then. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to actually do like a homeschool independent study program when I was in high school, because maybe I'm a little bit more social now, but at that time I wasn't the most highly social person, and I would just go to class and there would just be a lot of like juvenile behavior that I didn't want to deal with every day. And we would go to these assemblies, and I actually got injured at a couple of assemblies with somebody jumping out of the audience and landing on me a couple of times.
Oh, that's terrible.
And every time my mom would come down and tell the principal about it, he would act like, well, it's not a big deal that somebody jumped out of the audience, like, because we just had so many weird issues. Like, our school population was growing. It couldn't fit in this gym, and they had us sitting on the floor. And they were doing these, like, little contests where they said you have to get down to the floor of the gymnasium as fast as possible. So some of these boys were, like, jumping out of the bleachers, and they landed on me. Like, this boy landed on me 2 times. And so my mom was like, she didn't want me to go to assemblies anymore. And they were there in the office for like an hour and a half, and he was acting like it was just this horrific thing if I didn't want to go to this assembly. It wasn't academic in nature. They were taking school time, and all they were doing were playing like these stupid games where you can win a prize or like do something silly. So I stopped going to the assemblies, but at that time I was just really upset about this incident. And everybody made me feel like, well, there's something wrong with you if you're upset about somebody landing on you. Like, they made me feel like, well, you're the bad guy, even though I was injured and nobody took my injury seriously. And it kind of made me mad at the time, you know. It made me think, well, I don't like these assemblies. And what am I learning from this? Like, I was more academically minded. And just the fact that we always had to go to those events, I don't know. Like, I stopped going, but there were just a few things in high school at the time that kind of irritated me, you know.
Yeah, no, that sounds terrible. I wouldn't, you know, if it were my child, I would take the child out of school if that's what's happening. But yeah, when I was in junior high, we were forced to go to what was called a pep rally. That might be similar to this.
It is a pep. Yeah. They call them like pep rallies. Sometimes
Yeah,
rally. Yeah, kind of the same thing.
yeah, and I couldn't stand the noise. I'm very sensitive to noise; it would hurt my ears. So my parents gave me cotton to put in my ears, so I wouldn't have to hear that. And then, of course, people made fun of me that I had cotton in my ears. So you know how that is.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous, but yeah, it's kind of the same thing. But I guess I just ended up being injured over it. And we did talk about taking me out of school, but then when we looked into it at the time, we didn't know you could just do that. But if I could go back in time, I would have just done that because I didn't really enjoy the last 2 years of high school. Honestly, I don't know. I wasn't a big fan. I used to go to the library in between classes, and that's what I did, you know.
But yeah, if you look at the Chinese students, they're much better behaved, and you don't see any violence.
And you don't have this fear of gun violence, and it's not that. I mean, you can own a gun in China, right?
I don't know that. I don't know how it is in China. In Taiwan, it wasn't the case. So
okay.
But I just feel as if American children have stopped being disciplined. I mean, I know that if you read Little House on the Prairie, they used to be disciplined. And when there were really, you know, if there was a teenager was behaving badly, that teenager might get beaten too.
Oh, yeah, they would. You know, speaking of Little House on the Prairie, I always felt really bad for Almanzo's sister, Elijah Jane, because she did definitely have some really rowdy students in her class. And I always felt like her character was kind of maligned in a way. Like, I read more about her later, and she was pretty an interesting person, but people have this really bad impression of her. They think that she was just a really, like, some people that read the book, they're like, she's a horrible woman. But the more I read about it, like, just outside of the book, too, was that she had some really bad kids in the class, and they later did come in, you know, and do something about it. But she was a young woman, and these boys were, like, kind of, like, terrorizing her in the classroom. And I feel like she's been given a bad name, but she was actually a very independent person. And she didn't Rose Wilder Lane go to live with her for a while, I think, when she was a teenager, I had read.
Yeah, something like that. At that time, I mean, she married late in life. I don't think Laura liked her. I think this is really what it is. Laura didn't like her because she was an in-law, you know?
Yeah.
And so, but she was actually very independent. And she was able to farm on her own, but later she married, and she had a very happy marriage, even though she married later on in life. And she was kind of a role model, I think, for Rose.
Yeah, I think definitely, like, I don't know, just what I heard later on, what I read, like, if you can, and it's not that I don't like Laura, because I like a lot of things about her, but just, it almost kind of seems like to me Rose took after Eliza in a lot of ways. That's just the impression I get.
Probably. That's probably true.
But anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt what you were saying. You were right. Like, kids used to be more disciplined. They weren't violent towards each other because somebody kept them in check at home, right?
Exactly. Exactly. There would be consequences.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I just remember this one incident a few years ago. There's this fountain. There's a shopping center over where we live in the Citrus Plaza. And this fountain is very strange, okay? It has, like, little statues of people and kids and animals. And it used to be back in the day, if a child tried to play in a fountain like that, a parent would be horrified and pull them back, right? Like, did you ever see kids going to play in that fountain back, like, I don't know, 20 years ago?
No, I don't think they would.
So anyway, we were walking by this fountain, and it wasn't filled with water because with the drought, like, you're not supposed to, but all these kids were, like, jumping in the fountain, and there's all these statues, and it was just really strange because you could see somebody getting hurt, but the parents didn't care. They were just all talking with each other, and nobody was, like, there were no consequences. Like, they were literally running through this fountain, running in front of people. And to me, that's just kind of an example, like, of, well, there's really no boundaries anymore.
Right. And on the other hand, people are so afraid for somebody to see them spank their little kid, you know, when they're misbehaving, you know.
But I don't understand, like, why spanking is, like, so bad. Like, wouldn't that be better, just like a little spank than these kids just running around? Well, and also too, like, if you ask somebody sometimes, like, oh, I'm sorry, you can't skate in a public building, and then the parent just looks at you horrified because you told the child that, I'm sorry, skating's not allowed inside the building.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, parents can't discipline their children a lot of times. They're just afraid to.
They're afraid to, and it also seems like just something I'm seeing lately too. It's like, well, they didn't grow up, like, they grew up without any kind of, like, rules, so they just think, oh, it's cool, like, if people do whatever they want to do, like, oh, here's a mouse right here on a computer, and you can bang it against the table, and you're just expressing yourself, and then you have to tell them, I'm sorry, that computer device doesn't belong to you, and if it's damaged, like, somebody has to pay for it. I don't want to say, like, you have to, but if you, I literally had to tell somebody that once, because he told me, my daughter, like, banging it up and down is just her form of self-expression.
Well, if she can express herself that way on your computer at home.
Yeah. But I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, you can't do that. I mean, that's just an example. I'm not trying to get carried away, but I think that's just kind of how it goes nowadays.
Right. So, yeah, we're basically raising generation after generation of people who've had no discipline, and there are no real standards, academic standards, and there's no incentive for that. And so, okay, but I don't want to be a curmudgeon about everything.
Oh no, I don't think we have to be. That's fine. I mean, I guess if this works for people and they're happy doing that, I don't know. Could be it. I don't think I would want my kid to go to a California public school nowadays if I had kids. Honestly, no.
Right, but I do think, here's the thing, I think people do get something out of going to these to a place where they can meet other people their own age who might have similar interests. So, so in one sense, I do regret not having had that experience.
Yeah. Well, what I do see, and I used to be like, oh, this is horrible, but I've kind of changed my mind about it, is there are parents, what they do is they're doing like a charter school, which is, I guess, quasi-public, but they meet together, and the kids can do academic things a few times a week together, or they go to a private school, something like that, you know?
Right.
And maybe that's not so bad. Well, and I never used to feel that way, but I started to feel that way when I saw the Common Core curriculum coming in.
Yeah, well, it's just not a good idea to leave it in the hands of the voters what we do with our children. I mean, other people shouldn't get to vote about each other's educational experiences.
Yeah, for sure. And I wasn't trying to get, but was there anything else about the show that you wanted to talk about?
Oh, well, I think we better wait until you watch more of it. Then we can talk some more about the ups and downs of the relationship and playing, you know, the issue of what happens later on when they're adults. But,
okay. So, like in the world of Bo, is there anything interesting going on with Bo?
Well, Bo's really enjoying his different experiences with Jessica and the visits from Charla. And, of course, the weather is starting to warm up, and he's been using his hammock. And so that's what's going on with Bo right now.
That's good. Irina's still acting kind of strange. Like, she's living in the laundry room right now. She won't come out.
Oh. Really?
I don't know why. Okay, so anyway, like I woke up this morning and she was like peeking at me. And I'm like, oh, Irina, are you going to come back out now? And she went right back in. And she'll let me pet her, but she doesn't, like, she's just decided now she's going to live in the laundry room. I don't know why, but ever since that thunderstorm, she doesn't want to be out and about.
Oh. Well, I mean, Bo doesn't like thunderstorms and he will react to them, but it doesn't affect him after they're over.
Yeah, and I'm getting kind of worried about her. Like, I hope she's going to be okay. We might have to.
Is there any possibility she might be pregnant, or did you have her spayed?
She's been spayed, so she wasn't pregnant. So I don't know what's wrong. I'm getting kind of worried. I might have to take her to the vet again if she keeps doing this for a few more days, because it's concerning at this point that she just wants to be in one little area.
Yeah. Do you think something might have happened that you don't know about when you weren't home?
Not being a cat expert, I don't think anything happened. It's just she's acting just different. You know, I hope she doesn't have some sort of a illness or something. That's all I can think of at this point. She's probably going to have to go to the vet if this doesn't clear up in a couple days. I'm just holding off on doing that again because it's a little expensive when you take a pet to the vet around here.
Yeah, everything is so expensive. I mean, they just, yeah, I understand.
But I'm going to wait. I'm going to see if she starts feeling a little bit better and she comes out. It's just not like her. She has hidden for a couple days before, but now it's been since Thursday. So yeah. That's about 4 days almost. So that's kind of interesting. I just worry about the cat, I guess. I want her to feel better on her own.
Yeah, I hope so. How old is she?
She's 6 years old, so she's not that old. Yeah. It's a younger cat. She's not, well, middle. I guess you could call that like not a middle-aged cat. It's sort of like mid-aged cat. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Anyway, hopefully she feels better. I can kind of see her from here. But how is your bird Summer doing? I see that you did a live stream with Summer the other day.
Yeah, he's very active. He's very talkative. I don't know if he'll want to come out and talk to us. You want to come? No, he doesn't want to come right now. It's just too busy. It's just a little bit too busy. But he was playing with. He's got several balls in his cage, and he was talking to them. You know, he acts as if those balls are actually his friends.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan of Castaway, but I don't know if you remember, there was a scene in Castaway where he's alone and he turns the ball into his friend. Kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. So he's got one that's got rainbow colors and one that, well, depending on how you see colors, it's either blue or green. It's between blue and green. And he really loves that one. He will actually lift it, and it has a rattle inside, and it rattles. And so he really enjoys that. But Summer has also been playing with, he just said, okay. I don't know if you heard that.
I did. He goes, okay.
Yeah, he goes, okay. But right now he doesn't, I don't think he'll want to actually. Well, I can see if I can move this so you can see him a little bit better. But, you know, I can't force him to do anything. Can you see him?
I think I do. I see. Oh, there he is. Oh, yeah. Aw, you're so cute.
Yeah. So he's kind of.
I like how you were able to be that close to Summer. That's real nice.
Mm-hmm.
If he wants to come out, he can. Or if he's, he walks. Wow, look at that. I didn't know he did all that.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but now Bo is getting a little jealous because he knows that it's Summer.
Are we going too long for Bo? Like,
no, we're fine.
Okay, I just want to make sure because I don't want to take too much of Bo's time.
We're not going to go over an hour.
Okay, good. Just double checking. I'm fine. So yeah, There is. Oh yeah, I wanted to share something too. Like I bought this new conditioner. I told you about that one, the Equate one. It's really good. I like it. But the pump, I did forget to tell you about that. The pump is horrible.
Yeah, I got it. I got one on Friday.
Yeah.
I haven't used it yet, but I did finally get the pump open.
Yeah,
that took so long.
Yeah, the pump is horrible, but once you get it going, I really do like it. And the thing I just really liked about it was that I feel like this conditioner, because I go through conditioner really fast, but this seems to last me a little bit longer lately. I've had it for about, okay, don't laugh, like 3 weeks. But that's a lot of time for me to have a bottle of conditioner because I need a lot of conditioner for my hair, and I just really like it because I'm realizing I have less tangles.
Yeah, no, I like conditioner too. I use more conditioner than I do shampoo.
Yeah, I use a very little amount of shampoo. I actually was trying something for a while where it was called co-washing, where I wasn't really even using shampoo, and I would just use shampoo maybe every other wash to kind of get some excess oil out of my scalp. But in general, I find that the shampoo will last me forever, but I go through conditioner very quickly.
Yeah, that's how I am too.
Yeah, and I like this product because here, I mean, I don't know about the price point in your stores, but here, the like name brand that it was supposed to be, like you get a little bottle for the same price is that big bottle. And I felt like the Equate version was better than that little bottle of the name brand I was buying. So I just was kind of excited about that.
Yeah, I think actually in a lot, when it comes to a lot of products, the generic kind is just as good, but sometimes the packaging isn't as good.
Yeah, the packaging can be kind of wonky sometimes, but in general, oh, I see you came out. But yeah, it can be better. I like that Summer does all that. He's very interactive.
Yeah, he likes to groom people. Now, sometimes it can hurt a little bit, but as long as he's grooming my sweater, I'm fine.
Yeah, as long as it's just that, it's not bad at all. But, so, I was going to ask you something about like Filk Sings. Like, how did they come to be this phenomenon that they were an all-night thing? Are they like a party or like? I guess I don't really understand what it is.
It started in a science fiction convention, and at the convention, you go to a hotel, and people come in from out of town, and so that's. You know, they're staying at the hotel. All the lectures and everything, all the events are at the hotel. And then at night, you can meet in the con suite, the convention suite, or in someone's room, and you can stay up all night and filk.
It's kind of cool. Like if you're really into sci-fi and the music, I could see how that would be a very engaging thing to do, like something to look forward to at the convention.
Yes. Well, yeah. And a lot of these people are night people. So they're very bohemian. So they will, you know, stay up all night and then they'll sleep half the day.
Wow. See, now I'm kind of a little bit of everything. Like if I'm working a lot, I need to sleep a little bit more at night. But if I'm not working a lot and I'm more rested, sometimes I'll wake up in the night, then need to go to sleep for a couple hours, and then I'm awake during the day. I don't sleep a lot in general unless I'm really exhausted. I'm a weird combination of things, but I can kind of see how that would be fun and creative because late at night, sometimes I do have creative thoughts.
Yeah.
Once in a while. I can see how that would be fun.
Yes. Well, I have to get up early for Bo, so I can't stay up all night. But so I think that's one of the conflicts that we're having right now with our filksing is that, you know, normally it would continue for several hours and then people would drop off as they dropped off. But I really can't do it for more than 2 hours. And I think you and Kelly can't do it for more than 1 hour, really.
Yeah, and it's not that I don't want to do it for more than an hour. It's just because, like, just general things, like if somebody needs to talk to me or something. Like, it's not me personally. I just want to put that out there. And I think with Kelly, he has kids, so just for him. I think an hour, is there a way we could just say like it's a sampling of a silk sing and we keep it to an hour and then that's more manageable? It's just a thought.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I think if Leslie wants to do it for 2 hours, I can hold out for 2 hours.
Oh, I can for sure. But I was just trying to think if other people wanted to come on or not. I don't know. But whatever we want to do was fine with me. 2 hours I can do for sure.
Well, I'll see if I can invite some other filters, and we'll see how that goes.
Okay.
And I think it will be very interesting.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it could be. So, oh yeah, was there anything else that you wanted to share that's going on right now?
No, I think that's just about it. I think we'll make it light this time.
Yeah, this sounds good to me. So I just didn't know, like, oh, I did want to ask one more thing. There's a painting behind you. Who is that?
Oh, that's my father.
That's cool. I think you showed that to me before. I just guess I didn't remember it, but very nice painting.
Oh, I can take the computer to it. Let's see what Summer does. He's still on my leg.
Okay.
I don't know what to do when I start walking.
If it's too hard, that's okay. We could always do it another time and talk about it later. It's up to you.
We'll see whether he wants to climb up. You want to step up?
I have a thought. Maybe we can talk about your father a little bit more in the next live stream. Would you like to do that? Maybe share more stories about him?
Yeah, that would be good. I would be happy to. I'm just trying to show you the painting, and of course, Summer is on my shoulder now.
I really like it. Very cool.
He just flew back.
He's gone. That's okay. That's cool.
So I did this painting. Well, let's see. Can you see it now?
I do see it, yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I did that when I was 16.
Well, it's still a great representation. That is his face, because I remember that interview, and I do see his face in that. So it's a good representation.
Well, thank you. He didn't like it that much, so I ended up with it.
Okay. Well, maybe he didn't like it because I don't know. Some people don't like portraits of themselves. You never know why. But I know we're going to end it here so that we can maybe talk next time about your dad a little bit more.
Okay, let's do that. I really enjoyed talking to you, Julia, and we'll talk again soon.
Okay, sure. Have a nice evening.
You too.